Hello, welcome to Appleosophy Weekly, episode 5, the place we talk about the latest Apple tech news and rumors. So, before we get this show started, be sure to check out our quantitative research study that we're conducting. This is just to see what you think of your phone and why it's so amazing. Be sure to check it out on our website today at appleosophy.com. Okay, so I'd like to introduce Chris back to the show. Chris, thank you for joining today.
Hello guys, welcome back. And Holden, hello to you again.
Yes.
We got a streak now, 2 in a row.
Yeah, we do. Too. Yeah, so unfortunately Brahm couldn't join today's episode, but we'll try to get him into next week. But yeah. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna be talking about today's episode is Apple's Beats by Dre brand unveils a new NBA collection. Okay, so about a few days ago on February 14th, so Apple announced the Beats Studio 3 wireless headphones available in 6 new colors, representing the Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers, the Houston Rockets, Philadelphia 76ers, Toronto Raptors, and Boston Celtics. So each pair of headphones is in a different color with a so it has the same, also includes the same color logo branding for each NBA team. So here's what Apple says about this. Get closer to your music and show the love for the team you rep with the Beats NBA collection. These Beats Studio 3 wireless headphones, worn by some of your favorite players, feature your team's authentic colors and iconic logos. The final result in the collection designed just for the fans, honoring the spirit and emotion that makes up each of the 6 available team options. Okay, so Chris, what do you think of these new colors? Personally, I like the Golden State Warriors color and the Rockets one. I think they look really cool. But
yeah, I agree with you on that. And I think it's interesting, that they've done this because they also brought out the Mickey Mouse edition Beats headphones. And I also think, that with Beats doing this,
right.
it's kind of offering that exclusivity for people, that want to have an exclusive pair of headphones that,
Mm-hmm.
potentially need again. But apart from that, I think that they do look really cool, especially with the gold logos
Yeah,
and
no,
the
I
special
agree.
branding on the headset itself and the colors as well.
Have you seen the white?
Because
Which one's the white one? Is that the Toronto Raptors one? That one looks really
uh,
cool because it has like the red around it.
yeah,
Looks.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at it and it looks like the Raptors logo. It's a little bit hard to tell though, because one, I'm looking at a low resolution image, and two, from the branding, I think they could have done a little bit better job on trying to, put the logo maybe a
Mm-hmm.
little bit smaller on the, headband and stuff. But other than that, I think it's really cool that they're doing this. And I think that they should do it for, things like the NFL as well.
Yeah, I think they're really. In my opinion, I think they're like really unique. But I can see them doing this for different other sports. I can see them doing this for other sports. I do feel like that Beats are popular in the NBA brand because you see basketball players, you see Apple and Beats sponsor basketball players to wear them during their warm ups and stuff like that. But I feel like it really follows the NBA vibe, I guess you can say. But seeing this in NFL and other sports will be cool. But I do like the new colors they recently been releasing and the new collection. So, but one thing I would like to see is an updated design. It's just the same. It's pretty much the same design, but like I'm looking forward to new hardware in the Beats lineup.
Yeah, and I definitely think that they should introduce something, um, that brings a personal touch to it, like adjustable, ear clips and stuff like that, because I'm
Yeah.
not sure whether they, already really do that. But my sister, she has a pair of Beats. I forgot which ones. I think the Solo series and the ear, like muffs that you
Yeah.
put on. They're so small, and they, make me feel uncomfortable if I wear them for too long, or if she wears them for too
Does
long.
it
And
hurt your ear or something like that?
yeah, yeah, it's like the bone or something like that in the ear,
Mm-hmm.
and it hurts, especially when you're wearing them on a plane journey or something like that, where you're traveling to a venue that you're trying to get to, and you've got them clammed to your ears, and it makes them hurt.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So I have the Beats. I have the Beats. I forgot what it was called for a second. Oh yeah, the Beats EP, and they're the wired. They're Beat. It's Apple's cheapest wireless. Not sorry, not wireless, but like wired like Beats headphones, and they last me for a good 2 years until the right ear kind of broke. I think I need to like screw it back on. It looks like an easy fix, but I need to figure that out. But I do agree. I do think Beats are easily breakable. Honestly, I do think they need to like make them better material. But at the same time, I do love the design of the Beats, and I do expect them and Apple to potentially make a new version like the Beat Solo 4, like just to have like the latest hardware and maybe a little design upgrade.
Yeah, and I definitely think, with AirPods 2 or something along that genre, that they'll definitely try and bring out a new range
Mm-hmm.
that'll hopefully include the W2 chip or something of that matter when they bring it out. So who knows? Who knows?
Right. Um, but moving on from the Beats, I would just like to say, uh, so the next story will be Apple is extending iPhone 10R and iPhone 10s trade up promotion until March 25th in China. Okay, so Apple, so basically what they did in late November, Apple launched a limited time promotion. If you don't know, you may know this because you've seen it in the Apple stores because Apple's aggressive marketing on this. But Apple's limited time promotion offers up to $100 in additional credit when trading in an iPhone 6 through iPhone 8 towards the purchase of a new iPhone 10s or 10R in the United States. So that was the original deal. So what they're doing now is that they're expanding it into China. They're gonna continue this deal in China. It looks like, but uh, it does. I do not know if they're gonna continue in the United States, but I'll follow up on that in just a second. But Chris, what do you think on Apple's aggressive marketing about this? Do you think it's a good thing, or do you just think it's not necessary? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, I think it is necessary for them to be able to keep their profits up because
Mm-hmm.
with the this year's iPhone, they've had a huge loss especially in the Chinese market because that was kind of one of their main mass markets that they were trying to target. And with these the iPhone 10s, 10s Max, and 10R, they haven't been sufficient enough that people would want to buy them or upgrade. And so I
Right.
think offering this deal is beneficial. And to be honest, I think they should be offering it to all markets because it can
Mm-hmm.
massively benefit them in the long run. Because then with the Apple ecosystem, you have everything else incorporated into Apple, like the Apple Music, the TV subscriptions, and stuff like that. Especially with Apple and their upcoming TV subscription service, which I've been seeing here and there
Yeah, we'll be talking about
online.
that later.
But yeah, I think they should be offering it to everyone because in general, Apple's
Mm-hmm.
had a big loss at the start of this year, and I think maybe doing something like this could or
Honestly,
couldn't benefit them depending on how people react to it.
honestly, I think it's a good thing Apple's doing this as an Apple shareholder and having stock in Apple. Uh, I think it's a good thing that Apple's doing this because I would like to see. Of course it's a company. Companies make money, okay. And honestly, the question I just feel like why not do this? Like if they think it's the best thing to do, it's like why not? But I do. I can't really say why anyone would not like this because except for the aggressive marketing, but people are looking forward to buying a new iPhone 10R. The deals are not terrible, but what they also started doing is they started doing monthly. They added a monthly payment option, so now basically customers can get the iPhone 10R for I think low as $18.99 per month, or for the iPhone 10s as low as $30 per month for 24 months. So the Apple even started working on different payment methods and styles. But you can do it per month or pay it in full, which in full it costs $449 if you trade in an iPhone 7 Plus or iPhone 8, and $699 for the iPhone 10s. For the iPhone 10s. But in my opinion, I do believe that I just don't see why not they should be doing this. It's not surprising that they extended it in China because the bad sales in China with Apple. But I think Apple could maybe not promote crazily, because I swear I get emails about the iPhone 10R like every 2 weeks. I just think Apple, it's like very heavy promoting, but I do feel like Apple can maybe cut it down a little bit, because I feel like their customers at this point will be annoyed. But overall, I'm pretty fine about it. But yeah. Okay, so the next thing to be talking about in today's episode is the red iPhone XS and XS Max is rumored to launch in China this month. And then in China, Apple again will be dropping the product's red branding. So a red variant of the iPhone XS and XS Max could be launching in China sooner rather than later, if a social media rumor proves to be accurate. So a weeaboo, alright, post spotted by iPhoneHacks.com claims Apple will launch the red color models by end of this month in a bid to boost struggling iPhone sales in the region. The leaker, who claims to have received the tip from sources in Apple's supply chain, says that Apple will call the model China Red and not the typical product red branding the company typically associates with the color. So Apple's been doing this product Apple's been doing this product red branding for starting the iPhone 7, iPhone 7 Plus in March 2017, and then they did a similar addition with the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. But the question is, will we see a red iPhone XS and XS Max next month in March, where they usually announce it? But Chris, do you think Apple should release a red iPhone XS?
Yeah, I think they should, because, I mean, it's supporting a good cause. It's helping to fight AIDS and HIV, I think, as well.
Right.
So it's a big, charity thing, and, I mean, they've done it with the iPhone 7 onwards, and so I wouldn't see a reason why they would, stop that trend, because it's not necessarily, giving them a loss as such, because they're still, getting money for the phone while also getting a good brand reputation for, giving to charity and stuff like that. And so I think they definitely should, because it's continuing on a tradition and it's also supporting a good cause.
Yeah, I agree. So the reason why they're gonna drop the product red branding in China, because basically it's been alright, I'm just gonna say this. So sex is a controversial issue in China, according to Mac rumors and some other sources, and so it's just part of the culture that I guess supporting AIDS isn't allowed. I'm really confused about this, why they don't do it, but it's China and it's just how the government works. But so AIDS and HIV has been characterized in the past with consequence of the contact with the West. So it's just a thing. I guess it's just a region thing, honestly. Like some Apple regions support this, some don't. So it's just interesting to see them drop it again. But I think, if I remember correctly, last year they instead of calling it product red, I think last year they called it iPhone 8 red or something like that instead of product red. But it's very interesting that they did this, and they're going to continue doing this. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Oops, sorry.
No,
just one last thing.
It's okay.
Because, I mean, with, product red and stuff like that, especially being offered in China, I think Apple's, definitely soldiering through this, because with China and the way that they are at the moment, I know that I can't really say too much in it, one, because I'm not Chinese, and two, because, political stuff, but with the way that they're at the moment politically, I think it's good that Apple's trying to soldier through that and, trying to push their products through, because it's still getting that business, and it means, like, you, Holden, as a shareholder, get increased dividends when you're trying to, get paid back at the end of the year and stuff like that.
Right.
But I think, alongside this, Apple's been a key part in trying to, win over the Chinese government, especially with all the VPN stuff that happened. What was it, last year?
Yeah, I
And
think
so I
it
think,
happened. Yeah, I believe it happened last year.
yeah, and so I think it's, definitely something that Apple's trying to, set the standard and, raise awareness on, trying to soldier through something like this, because I understand that, they've definitely lost out in China a lot this year, as I've,
Right,
just
especially
mentioned before.
especially with the losses in China Apple had.
Yeah.
All right. So the next thing I like to talk about is the iPhone SE. So the $249 special promo iPhone SE is back in stock on Apple clearance website, but at the moment of this episode, I really think it's out of stock again. Okay, so the iPhone SE have been going in stock and out of stock from Apple clearance's website for a special promo of $249. So Apple's been selling unlocked iPhone SE models for $249. You can get it in 32 gigabytes or 128 gigabytes. But you can purchase the 32 gigabytes iPhone SE in gold for $249, or the 128 gigabyte iPhone SE in space gray or silver for $299. But just the reason we're reporting on this because Apple's still selling it. I believe these iPhones are made in India too. They instead of making them in the iPhone SE in China, I think they moved them to India, so these can be a little bit different models because they're made somewhere else. But it's interesting to see that Apple is continuing to sell the iPhone SE. But if you want to buy an iPhone SE right now, I recommend it's probably if you're gonna buy from Apple's clearance website, I can guarantee it's probably sold out by now, unless it's back in stock. So you want to be sure to keep checking back. I'm sure it'll be back in stock shortly because it's been going in and out of stock for the last several weeks. So just stay tuned on that. But Chris, just a little quick question: do you think Apple should, I just say make an iPhone SE second generation, so maybe iPhone SE 2? Do you think it'll be like good for Apple to do that?
Uh, I don't know, to be honest, because I mean, the iPhone SE is something that is very common when you look at an iPhone, because so many people, especially kids and teenagers, have them. One, because they're
Right.
pretty cheap to buy, brand new, and also the fact that they're cheap to replace or repair should they break,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of an iPhone, that is. And I think it's good for the aspect of it has everything that a regular iPhone has,
Right.
and it conforms to the style of Apple,
Mm-hmm.
especially at that price point. But I also think it would be a drawback, because it means that Apple wouldn't be able to implement their new technology into that phone unless they had some sort of engineering masterpiece happen where they were able to put like Face ID into something like that.
Right. So for me, I think Apple should create an iPhone SE too, but like at a really good price, like very reasonable price. But I think it should I think it should have different design, but maybe more like a design of like a maybe a maybe like an iPhone 6 design, I guess you can say, because the iPhone SE has I should say the iPhone 5S design. So maybe they can move on to like more of a like iPhone 6 design for the iPhone SE 2, so it can like stay up to date and everything like that, but at the same time maybe have like an update processor and stuff like that. But
Yeah, and
mm-hmm.
just checking on the Apple clearance website, the iPhone SE is actually.
Yes. All right, so it looks like we lost Chris there. Okay, so the iPhone SE, so yeah, I do think they're gonna release the second. I do believe they should release the second generation model, but yeah. Okay, so guys, the next thing we're talking about is Apple is to release AirPods with new coating and black color in the spring. So I actually don't own AirPods, but I do plan on buying some very soon. I don't know when. I want to wait for the new ones. Okay, that's just me. But according to a Taiwanese economic daily news, Apple supplier Nvidia has been manufacturing the new AirPods and is ready to ship them in the spring, perhaps alongside the AirPower, which is in mass production now, which we reported about I think reported on around January, I think with Brahm on the first episode, but the information was shared by Taiwanese publication, which matches the rumors that we heard earlier this week from the source of My Smart Price. But the rumors suggested both of the AirPods and the charging case will be available in black and white, with the updated accessory to get a special matte coating with an enhanced grip. So we still don't know exactly when the AirPods are going to be released, but Apple is, we can say this right now, there's a 90% chance that Apple is holding a event on March 25th that will focus on services and not so much on hardware. But we could see that Apple could choose to release the update AirPods and AirPower around the same time via press release rather than a dedicated event. So we can see them release them quietly and just do a press release, or do them during a dedicated event. So either one will work. Okay. But so in my opinion about this, I think the black color is really cool. From the renders and stuff like that, I really think people are gonna enjoy this black color AirPods too. But yeah, overall, and just to give you guys an update, Chris, the connection between FaceTime disconnected with Chris, so we'll try going back into the episode very soon. So, right, yeah. Okay, so next thing we'll be talking about now. Okay, so Chris joined back to the episode. I'm sorry, guys. We have some technical difficulties right now. Just stay over here. Okay, next story. Apple is to sell modified iPhone 7 and iPhone 8 in Germany to skirt sales ban. So Apple today confirmed rumors that they'll start selling modified models in its German stores to comply with patent infringement lawsuit Qualcomm won against the company in December. The California-based company said it had no choice but to replace Intel chips to the iPhone models with chips from Qualcomm in order to allow them to be sold again in the country. So Apple is Apple's trying to basically get the iPhone 7 and iPhone 8 back in Germany, but it'll be interesting to see how Apple plays this. All right, Chris, nice to have you back.
Yeah, sorry, my Wi-Fi cut out, so...
Yeah, your Wi-Fi's trash, man. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah, I need to get it fixed. Router's gone.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've been thinking about bad Wi-Fi. Okay. Okay, so moving on from that. So Apple Pay is rumored to launch in Saudi Arabia on February 19th. So I don't know. So Apple obviously doesn't really have many, followers from Saudi Arabia. But just to say that just to give you an idea that Apple's rolling out Apple Pay to more countries. So Apple Pay is rumored to launch in Saudi Arabia on February 19th. So an early report this week suggested that Apple Pay will launch in the Czech Republic next week, but it also now looks like Apple Pay might come to Saudi Arabia on the same day. So, according to local advertisements from multiple banks in Saudi Arabia, Apple Pay will launch in the country on February 19th, 2019, which is also the same date that has been rumored for the Czech Republic launch of Apple Pay as well. The Czech Republic report suggested that Apple has set the embargo for 6 o'clock local time for the launch of Apple Pay in the country. So, Chris, a little quick question. Do you use Apple Pay?
All the time. I mean, I don't even carry around my wallet with me anymore just because, I have my Subway card, my bank card, and basically all my loyalty cards as well on my phone in my wallet. And so there's no real need to, have a wallet anymore. I just have it all on my phone. And because it's, with my biometrics, I feel that it's more secure than, actually carrying my wallet, because if I lose my phone, at least it's locked by my face. Whereas if I
Right.
lose my wallet, it's not, and it's open for someone to try and get into it. So I think that having Apple Pay is something of the future, and I think it'll really take off, especially with mobile banking and the way that that is at the moment.
Right. One thing I'm really disappointed about is retailers that don't support Apple Pay and they're just now supporting it. Like that bothers me because it seems so simple for them to set up, because I bet most of their POS systems support Apple Pay, but they just don't turn it on. See, that's the thing that bugs me the most, because people, like, I haven't used cash in like 6 months. Okay, I've been trying to not use cash at all. It's been working. All I've been using now is my debit card and Apple Pay. That's it, and PayPal, and that's what does it for me. So, I want to see retailers get into the. I want to see retailers really invest into this, into Apple Pay, and really start using it, because trust me, people are gonna be using it more throughout the next few years, and I think for retailers to stay up to date, I think that's one of the things I think, really need to do.
Yeah,
But
because I mean,
yeah,
sorry.
no, you go.
Like what we were saying with last week with what was it, Target, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
They have only just implemented Apple Pay into their stores. Sorry, yet they've had probably that functionality for almost a year, maybe even a year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's disappointing on their end because they're not keeping up to date in terms of their technology. But I can see where you know they're coming from and not including this technology yet, just because of the fact that it could cost them, because they have to get in the IT professionals to install that update.
Yeah, but it takes like 10 minutes, right?
Well, who am I to know? I've never used a POS system
Yeah, I
in
know.
terms of back end.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm playing. Okay, but yeah, overall, Apple Pay's rolling out to more countries. That's great. I can't wait to see it in more countries and retailers. If you're any so if any retailer executives are listening to this and you support Apple Pay, shame on you, because I really think you need to support Apple Pay. That's just my opinion.
Oh yeah, and Sonic as well, I think, is supposed to support Apple Pay at the moment as well.
So Sonic supports Apple Pay via the Sonic app. So Sonic, I just say Sonic PR contact us about one of our reports, saying that like they don't accept Apple Pay on,
The tills.
yeah, on like, but they do accept it in the app. So, it's I feel like Sonic may be like, maybe they'll roll out
Trying to
Apple Pay
integrate it.
more. Yeah, but we'll see if they integrate more in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Okay, so Apple is now allowing Apple Music subscribers to give a free month of service to friends. Okay, so here's what this is. So last weekend, Apple sent a wave of Apple Music notifications to previous subscribers, offering them an additional 3 months trial. Okay, but now Apple's continuing its Apple Music focus with push notifications, allowing current subscribers to gift a friend a free month of the streaming service. So the notification is actionable, allowing you to tap it to be taken to a page where they send a referral to a non-Apple Music subscriber. But Apple notes that the referral is valid only for individual memberships. If you send a referral to someone who has already used their 3 month trial, they'll get a total of 1 month of Apple Music for free. If someone hasn't yet to use their free trial, they also get a total of 4 months for free. So I really think this is really cool. So here's a little statement from Apple. So a free month of Apple Music is yours. Access over 50 million songs, all ad-free. Download as much as you want, and listen offline without using data. And no commitment means you can cancel anytime. Individual memberships only, non-subscribers only. Renews automatically after 1 month or 1 month after trial and trial eligible. So this is one of Apple's notification tactics, I guess you can say, to promote Apple Music to subscribers. Some people like them, some people have been annoyed by them, but it's just part of their campaign. But if you're annoyed by this is how you can disable Apple Music notifications. So you just want to open the settings app, look for notifications menu, and then scroll down until you see Apple Music, and then just press the toggle that says allow notifications. Be sure to like switch it to off, and that's how you turn that off. But Chris, what do you think of this? What do you think of Apple doing this? You think it's a good thing, bad thing, annoying thing? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's a good thing, in terms of, trying to get people from other music platforms to,
Right.
subscribe to Apple Music because, I mean, I use SoundCloud at the moment, but say, for instance, someone is on Spotify and they're aware of this offer and they have a friend that uses Apple Music. I
Mm-hmm.
think, it's a great introduction because it's either 1 month or 4 months free,
Right.
meaning, you've got something there that is, you know, just open to you to trial, and then you can decide whether you like it or not. And you know, in my opinion, even though I've never used Apple Music, I'd probably be inclined to stay with them because you get used to that platform.
Right.
But the one drawback is that you probably either have to know someone that has Apple Music, or you have to resort to, you know, begging online for someone to share a subscription with you because I'm pretty sure you can only send out an invite to, one other person rather than just, sending it
Mm-hmm.
out between, 20 people or something like that.
Right. So yeah, I actually have Apple. I use Apple Music. I honestly, in my opinion, I don't like Spotify. Apple Music is so much better than Spotify. But
Yeah.
it's just me. But one thing, I like Apple Music. I love the design. Maybe you can say a new one in iOS 13, but the current design of Apple Music is great. It's easy. I love how it integrates with all my devices, but I think it's like a really good product.
And am I also right in saying that Apple Music users can send an invite to, I think, even an Android user because they have the Apple Music on Android, right?
I think they could.
Yeah, I'll have to investigate on
Yeah,
that.
we'll have to take a look at that. Okay, so we're gonna be moving on to the next topic. So Apple is teaming up with U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs to bring digital health records to iPhone. So Apple has announced they'll soon support accessing digital health records for veterans through the Health app on iPhone. The development part is now a new agreement with the U.S. Department of Veterans. So here's a little thing from Tim Cook. Here's what he said. We have a great admiration of veterans, and we're proud to bring a solution like health records on iPhone to veterans to the veteran community, said Tim Cook, Apple CEO. It's truly an honor to contribute to the improved healthcare of America's heroes. So here's what these health records are. So they contain reliable results, medications, vitals, immunizations, and it's from your healthcare provider and all in one place on the iPhone. So Apple also says that health records are secure through encryption and accessible only with a passcode, Touch ID or Face ID, or fingerprint or facial recognition. So it's interesting to see Apple really investing in the health and healthcare. I I've been seeing a lot of interest in Apple in healthcare, and I think this is a one step of the way of Apple's plan. But Chris, you have any thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting because you're trying to coordinate with um, a government organization, which normally Apple isn't really open to doing because I mean, last time government organizations tried to
Mm-hmm.
work with Apple, Apple declined it, and I mean that was with what was it, unlocking the one of the stolen iPhones or something like that.
Yeah, that was like a
And
few years ago.
yeah, and so the last time they've had an encounter like this, was a few years ago, and I think that trying to, work on it and do something like this is good because you're finding out um, things that maybe haven't been diagnosed by someone like doctors or something like that. Because I understand that health records are deeply important to especially people in the military because part of being in the military and the army is being physically fit and ready for combat. And so I think the Apple trying to do this is definitely a step in the right direction for
Right.
trying to get that into a little motive, which will then hopefully you know um, push
Mhm.
other companies to do the same, like Samsung with their Gear Watch and stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I really think it's a good thing that Apple is doing, and I really can see them investing more into this in the future in 2019, maybe 2020, because I know Apple's been getting into more healthcare, and maybe you can see some future stuff from them. Okay, so moving on, Ariana Grande's latest album, Thank You Next, sets two new Apple Music records. Okay, so according to a tweet from Ariana Grande's team, her latest album, Thank You Next, has set two records on Apple Music. So the singer retweeted this detail. So it's the biggest day one global pop album on Apple Music, and it's also the biggest day one global for a female artist on Apple Music. And the album is reported to be number one album on Apple Music in 84 countries. So Billboard reports that Apple Music confirmed. The music streaming company reports that Thank You Next has scored the highest global debut in any female artist in every genre ever on Apple Music within the first 24 hours of the album's release. But although the album was only released on Friday, the title track of the same name was released as a single back in November. It led to the Billboard Hot 100 list for 7 weeks in total. But I just wanted the reason we're just reporting on this because I just thought it was interesting because it's interesting to see artists hit Apple Music records and break records and stuff like that. But I think it's acknowledgeable to report as Apple News because it's an Apple Music record. So this is just why we report this in the first place. But what do you think, Chris?
I think, in terms of Ariana Grande, I think, it's inevitable that she was going to break a record, whether it was, for having, the most top ones in a country or what have you. But I know that she was bound to break a record, especially with, her following. Because isn't she, like, the most followed Instagram user or something like that?
I think it's someone else. I'm not too sure, honestly. You might be right. I think she's in the top 10 definitely for that.
Yeah, she's got 145 million followers on Instagram. And I mean, just looking at her Instagram profile right now, she's got a link in her bio that goes straight to, Apple Music and Spotify and stuff like that. So it definitely shows that, she's got that lead generation in there
Mhm.
for trying to promote the album. But I think, with the way that Apple Music is, growing and becoming more of a defined platform for music, moving away from iTunes as such, I think it's definitely something where you could, or Apple should, start offering. Uh, I wouldn't say rewards as such, but awards, if you get what I mean. Like
Oh, like kind of
with
like how YouTube does it.
yeah, like I'm trying to think. I forgot the name of the company, but they do like the golden record and stuff like that.
Platinum.
I think that oh yeah, the platinum record and stuff like that. I think Apple should be doing something like that to commemorate,
I think that'll be cool too.
yeah, to commemorate their enthusiasm towards Apple Music and stuff like that, and potentially for bigger artists, it'll encourage them to put their
Mhm.
music onto Apple Music because you know there could be a chance that they could be in with an award.
Right.
So you never know.
Yeah, exactly. So, I have a little disappointing report to report about. So, the 2019 iPhone reported stick to the Lightning port and same 5-watt USB-A charger in box. Okay, so this is one thing I've been dying for Apple to change forever, and it's the freaking 5-watt USB-A charger in the box. Okay, why not upgrade to 12 watts at least? Give it the same as the iPad, but 5 watts seems so little, and it's been the same since the original iPhone. And I really think Apple should change this. So, Chris, do you think Apple should change it to maybe USB C, USB A, like, or at least make it better than the current one Apple has?
I think that they definitely need to keep Lightning because although
No, all right.
USB-C.
I agree they should keep Lightning, but I really think they should have a higher wattage USB charger,
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
or maybe USB-C to Lightning.
Yeah, maybe potentially because I mean, I am a really big fan of the Lightning, you know, um,
Mm-hmm.
type port because of the way I've already got
Yeah, me
all the
too.
peripherals and stuff like that. I've got the docks, the cables, and everything, and it would be a pain in the butt to have to go out and buy all this USB-C crap when I already have things that are acceptable for a device with Lightning. But I can see when USB-C would be good, especially with the new iPad Pro, I think it is, where they were um, you know, marketing it as something that you could put with a monitor and loads of other fancy equipment and stuff like that.
Right.
So I think it's a little bit of a mix in between the middle because there's pros and cons on both sides. But at the moment, I'm leaning slightly more towards sticking with Lightning at the moment.
Yeah, I believe they should stay with the Lightning port and everything like that. But I do think you should upgrade the USB wattage. Instead of 5 watts, maybe do 10 watts or 15 watts or 18. Just something higher than 5 watts to potentially make the iPhone charge faster. Like, but so here's the report. We haven't seen example. We haven't really seen too many evidence of the design of the 2019 iPhone really yet, but we will in the next coming months probably. But there's been back and forth rumors about whenever the new iPhone would use Lightning or USB-C. So Japanese website source Mako Targa, sorry if I pronounced this wrong, Mac Targa says that uh, not only will the 2019 iPhone use Lightning, but Apple will continue to bundle the same 5-watt charger and USB-A to Lightning cable in the box. This is seen as so. I think maybe Apple's doing this as a cost-saving measure. We don't know, but it seems like customers wanting faster iPhone charging times, uh, will they'll have to buy accessories like the 12-watt iPad charger. But basically, the site explains that the Lightning port is not going anywhere, and Apple is resistant to changing and but basically they're not going to include accessories and maintain production costs, so it's a little bit disappointing, but maybe we'll get more news about this in the future. But yeah, okay, so next thing we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about a fired Apple lawyer. So basically, fired Apple lawyer charged by SEC with insider trading. So according to a report by CNBC this morning, they say that former senior director of corporate law and corporate secretary of Apple traded Apple using non-public information. So basically trading Apple stock. It's revealed that the suit they committed insider trader multiple times prior to the incident, and at least dating back as far as 2011. But this lawyer was fired from Apple, and was fired because he was fired in September 2018 because he was breaking laws with insider trading with the SEC, and also but it's interesting because this dude is basically responsible for Apple's compliance with securities and laws. But Chris, you have any thoughts on this story?
I think it's basically outright fraud. He's violated his
Yeah.
contract with Apple
Yep.
basically, and
I
I
think
think
Apple's NDA. Yep.
yeah, there shouldn't be any remorse to this guy because he's you wow. He's really gone against his contract, and especially with trading internal stocks and stuff like that, it's something that isn't good in terms of a company aspect because that's something that is for stakeholders only, and I'm assuming that by being a lawyer for Apple, he already got stocks or got a
Mm-hmm.
yearly percentage of stock um, by working for them. And if that doesn't meet his needs, and he had to go out and actively trade his own stock, then he deserves to be fired because he knows what he's doing is wrong, and yet he's
Obviously,
still
he's
choosing to do it.
obviously he's a lawyer.
Yeah, and I mean he's a lawyer, so it's kind of even more ironic because he knows the law concerning that, probably depending
Right.
on what type of lawyer he was.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, yeah, he's fired. Okay,
Yeah.
so moving on to the next story. So Google's planning a cheaper smartphone to rival the iPhone XR. Alright, honestly, this doesn't surprise me at all. I don't know why it's been reported earlier, but Google is planning to unveil a cheaper smartphone as part of an aggressive effort to draw more users into the Google ecosystem and to better compete with Apple, according to multiple recent reports. Google is said to be planning to exploit Apple's current pricing issues. Apple suffered poorer iPhone sales than expected during the holiday quarter, and one major factor was the high cost of iPhones around the world. So maybe Google's going to release a cheaper one than the iPhone, we'll see. But Google's upcoming smartphone will actually probably be priced similar to the iPhone XR, maybe the same, maybe cheaper. But all we know right now is that Google is going to compete with Apple and create a phone like the iPhone XR. And Google's also wants to target customers looking more Google wants to target customers looking for more affordable smartphone options and customers in emerging markets where higher priced smartphones don't sell well. So, Chris, do you like the Google Pixels? Do you know anything about them? Like, what do you guys say?
I know nothing about them. I've never used them. I think I might have touched one once, but apart
I
from
don't
that,
even think I touched one ever.
yeah, apart from that, I've had no interaction with a Google Pixel, and I think while it's exploited of Google and a little bit mean, I guess that's business for you, and
Mm-hmm.
they spotted the flaw, and so they're trying to interject themselves into that part of the market where they're able to pinpoint someone looking for a lower end smartphone for a low cost, and basically taking that customer away from Apple and giving it to Google. But that's how business works, and you there's not really an argument there for Apple to retaliate against them. So
Right.
it's not something that I guess they can do
Mm-hmm.
much about.
Yeah, exactly. So here's what the rumors have said about this. Rumors have suggested that the smartphone will feature one 5.56 inch, uh, 2220 by 1080 LCD display instead of an OLED panel, and it'll include a Snapdragon 670 processor, 32 gigabytes of storage, a headphone jack. That's kind of disappointing. 4 gigabytes of RAM, and the same high quality 12 megapixel camera that's in the Pixel 3, and a 2,915 milliamp battery. So those are just the specs that are rumored. But it's not entirely clear when Google will debate this new lower cost smartphone. But it's rumored that it could potentially release at Google I/O, which will take place in May. But so Chris, do you think Apple will release like so? I just think about the iPhone that Apple could release in September 2019. Do you think they're gonna release another iPhone XR, like maybe iPhone XR 2? But I don't know what they're gonna call it honestly. But you think Apple's gonna do that, or
Mm,
just create the phone
no,
cheaper?
I think what they'll do is probably just discount the phone because I think releasing a whole new phone is while it's nice to bring out a new product and stuff like that. I think it would be very very unlike Apple to do something like that because of the fact that they could just you know discount it, and I feel that putting updated parts into an older model of phone is kind of wrong. in a sense, because it's the new
Mm-hmm.
technology is kind of reserved for the new phone because they go hand in hand together. And I feel that sometimes, if you were to put new technology into an old phone, you sometimes get faults. And I think that was especially found with the iPhone
Right.
6S, because um, you know, Bendgate, and I
Mm-hmm.
think they had the antenna bands issue and stuff like that. And so it's just new hardware deserves new software, and um, basically, it should stay that way. I don't see why Apple would change it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I just think yeah, I can see them. I can see Apple discounting it, but honestly, there's not too many rumors to support. There's not really that many rumors yet, but throughout like the months coming, we'll get more evidence of that. I'm sure. Okay, so for the last story of today's episode, we're gonna be talking about Beats again. This is our last story. Apple is offering $70 off Beats Studio 3 Skyline wireless headphones collection. Okay, so Apple's offering a special $70 promotional discount with its Skyline collection of Beats Studio 3 wireless headphones on its online store. So the Skyline Studio 3 wireless headphones come in crystal, blue, desert sand, midnight black, and shadow gray. All of the colors feature gold accents with gold Beats logo and gold brand. So basically, the collection was originally launched online in October for $349, but Apple has currently offered them for $279 now online via Apple Store pickup or online. And according to Apple's website, this will only be a limited time thing, so this deal could go away potentially soon. But the Studio 3 wireless headphones feature Apple's pure adaptive noise canceling technology, designed to block external noise when listening. They're also equipped with Apple's W1 chip, which is also in the AirPods, but it's basically designed to make it easy to switch between devices when listening. And also includes power efficiency of the chip, which lasts about 22 hours on one charge. So I own the Beats X. So the Beats models I own is the Beats X and also the Beats EP. And for the Beats X, I gotta say that they're easily to break, in my opinion. Like I replaced them at least 2 times, but I'm happy with the free repairs, so I'm not really disappointed. They're a good product, just they break easily. And maybe that's why Apple discounted them on Apple.com for the Beats X. But it's interesting to see Apple discount Beats Studio 3 models. Maybe they're not selling well, maybe they're too expensive, but it's interesting to see that. Any thoughts on that, Chris?
Well, I mean, looking on Apple.com and what they're charging for these headphones, I think it's a perfectly acceptable price for such a sexy looking product, because I mean
Right.
these headphones look very high up, high end retail type headphones, especially with the gold logos and the gold accents going hand in hand with the cream and the black.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think, despite what you say about, them being easy to break and being, fairly fragile, I think just as long as, Apple can, give you a replacement
Yeah,
without you
they
having to,
yeah,
pay.
it's still in the warranty for me, so it's great.
Yeah, I think that if they can do that and, keep that sufficient, then I'd be, really inclined to buy these headphones. And I mean, I'm gonna take a look at this afterwards, after the podcast, because I think these headphones are definitely something that someone would like, either as a
Mm-hmm.
gift or as something that they would use quite often, because it looks like something that would fit in with a person's style,
Right.
especially with fashion trends and stuff like that at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. Um, but yeah, Beats interesting to see the Beats Studio 3 discount. Maybe they'll release a Beats Studio 4. But I would like to see a refresh of the Beats lineup soon instead of just releasing new colors, like maybe new design, maybe I honestly I just want to see something new in the Beats lineup, like maybe a new Beats product, like just something new.
Yeah, that's perfectly fair.
Right. Okay, so that's the end of this episode. Guys, gals, thank you so much for joining today's episode of Appleosophy Weekly. We're on episode 5. Um, but Chris, thank you for joining today's episode.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, thank you for having me. As I've said every other episode that I've been on, and I mean, it's great talking about Apple stuff with you. So
Yeah,
yeah,
me
let's hope
too.
this keeps going.
Yeah. Okay, so if you guys haven't yet, be sure to follow us on Instagram at APPLEOSOPHY. Okay, you can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and most of all, be sure to check out our website at Appleosophy.com. Well, guys, that's the end for this episode. Thank you for listening, and hope you have a great week.